Rise and shine. This is your morning Buzzcast for Wednesday, July 23rd. I'm Austin Karp, and I have to say big shout out to Venus Williams, a fellow 45-year-old who last night won her match at the WTA's DC Open. Pretty impressive to come off the bench like that after having not played in a pro match since March of 2024. She becomes the second oldest woman to win a tour-level singles match in pro tennis. I will now try and use Venus's win as motivation to keep playing pickup basketball 2 to 3 times a week. For all the 45-year-olds out there, nice work, Venus. But on to the business of sports, and let's start with the college space. The two big football media days under the microscope this week being the ACC and the Big Ten, who remain on different sides of the fence when it comes to potential expansion of the college football playoff. Here in my hometown of Charlotte, Jim Phillips held court on Tuesday, touting what he feels is some newfound stability for his conference with the Clemson and Florida State lawsuits in the rearview mirror. For the CFP, though, the ACC remains on the side of the SEC and the Big 12 in opposition to any automatic qualifiers in a potential 16-team CFP model. Each of those conferences prefers access for more teams in this playoff. Out in Vegas, though, Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti and his group see things a little differently. They are on an island, I guess, vis-a-vis the major conferences, wanting a different approach to a 16-team playoff. So where does that leave us on potentially getting to that expanded CFP? As my colleague Ben Portnoy tells us, there are 3 options. 1, the SEC and the Big Ten come to some form of agreement around the automatic qualifier-centric 4-4-2-2-1-1 format that Tony Petitti is pushing. Option 2, the Big Ten budges on the 5+11 format that the Big 12 and ACC continue to push. And option 3, nothing gets done here and we remain in a 12-team playoff format. Nothing ever easy in college football. Feels like that should be slapped on some CFP-branded coffee mugs. Keeping things weird, the MLS All-Star game is down in Austin, Texas tonight, and the league's main event off the pitch is a Board of Governors meeting taking place today where owners are expected to talk about issues ranging from the seemingly inevitable adoption of the global soccer calendar to business initiatives around next year's FIFA World Cup. As SBJ's Alex Silverman notes, while owners could vote to adopt this global fall to spring calendar that leagues around the world have, there isn't that same sense of urgency to vote today as there was at April's meeting, when the feeling was it could be the last chance to implement such a scheduled transition coming out of next summer's World Cup. With that possibility now pushed back to 2027 at the earliest, MLS owners have until early next year before they face another deadline on that front. One unresolved issue is whether cold weather clubs would be compensated for such a shift. On the pitch tonight, there's still an open question as to whether Leo Messi is going to participate in the All-Star game. He did not participate in the skills contest last night and has not practiced with the All-Stars. If he's not listed as injured, MLS does have rules in place about suspensions for skipping such all-star events. Would the league actually implement something like that? That's something to keep an eye on with MLS in Texas. Sticking with soccer, count me as a fan of the new name for the NWSL team coming to Colorado, Denver Summit FC. The club, which is going to begin play next year, unveiled its moniker Tuesday morning, along with a mountain-themed crest, which I also very much dig. Green and white are the primary colors. My favorite nugget about the whole process here is that the team had to work out details on the brand identity, taking it from a pro ultimate frisbee club in the area, also called the Colorado Summit. That team will actually rebrand. Interesting nugget there. And speaking of the NWSL, national viewership is a little softer this season, down on the whole for the league, largely driven by a sharp drop among older viewers, talking 55 plus here. The handful of games that have been on ESPN, those are up, but ION, CBS, seeing declines there. More on those audience numbers coming in SBJ. Other viewership nuggets, Scottie Scheffler hasn't exactly been a ratings needle mover for golf, but his win at the Open Championship delivered that major its best audience since 2022, not just the final round, but the entire weekend on NBC and the early rounds Thursday, Friday on USA Network. Scottie still doesn't look like he's got the juice of a Rory or even a Jordan Spieth in moving those numbers, but encouraging to see audience gains for the final major of the season. On the flip side of things, Caitlin Clark again showed her power over WNBA numbers with the All-Star game Saturday night on ABC. She did not play, and that game took a 36% drop, even though it was still the second most watched WNBA All-Star game ever. Different story on Friday night for the league, actually, though, with that skills and three-point contest. That had its best audience ever on ESPN, and even without Clark participating. But what do we keep seeing here? If Clark is part of an event and then she's removed, that audience craters. WNBA All-Star, down 36%. The NCAA Women's Basketball Title Game, down 54%. WNBA Draft, 49% lower. And when she was out earlier this season, the WNBA lost huge chunks of its audience. Yes, the season is still up 9% coming off the break, but Caitlin is injured again, and networks like CBS and ABC had some big games coming up around the Fever and other teams. If Clark has to miss extended time, that 9% game looks like it could be in trouble, something to keep an eye on there with the W. Let's get to some other things happening around the industry. Peacock today starts its price increase, $5 more a month for the tiers on that platform. Once Comcast signed this lucrative NBA media rights deal, which actually costs more than what CBS is paying the NFL annually, everyone knew this sort of move was coming. But live sports are crucial for Peacock. I love what they do with the Olympics. You can get Sunday Night Football there, and it's important because I can't really name much in terms of fresh new shows that are on Peacock, so sports is where it's at for that platform. Experiential marketing agency Bespoke Sports and Entertainment has been acquired by Publicis Group. Bespoke will now be part of Publicis Sports, the sports marketing agency within Publicis Connected Media. Bespoke is going to retain its name. That company has done solid work with Duke's Mayo, especially that bowl entitlement, as well as Bush's Beans, Navy Federal Credit Union, and other brands. So a big shout out to Bespoke co-founders Mike Boykin and Greg Bush, who will also continue to lead the agency. So is everyone ready for a potential Summer Olympics in Qatar? Well, the tiny country on the Arabian Peninsula, which hosted the 2022 FIFA World Cup, is apparently in talks with the IOC to host the Olympics. Brisbane, Australia already has the 2032 games. But my question is, if the summer heat forced a move of the 2022 World Cup to December, would we also have to move the Summer Olympics to the winter? Sources tell me it does get kind of hot on the Arabian Peninsula in the summer, so interesting to follow if the IOC does want to award the Summer Games to Qatar. A big move in NFL agent circles, as agent Tory Dandy is heading to Athletes First as an equity partner. Dandy spent the last 9 years at CAA Sports as managing partner and co-head of football, where he negotiated deals for some of the biggest names in the NFL, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Patrick Surtain II, Denzel Ward, and many others. Dandy, a 2018 SBJ 40 Under 40 honoree, will continue to be based out of Atlanta. So that's your morning Buzzcast for Wednesday, July 23rd. I'm Austin Karp. I'll be out at ACC Football Media Days today saying hi to some folks. Send me a note if you're going to be in Charlotte around that event. Make good choices out there, and I will speak to you all again tomorrow.